Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next lesson in the advanced class. And we're going to talk about get going, get a move on. So we're going to look at the grammar of get and the vocabulary of get. And we're also going to identify attitudes with pronunciation, how your inflection or your emphasis determines your attitude very often in English and in many languages. Now, before we get started here, I just want to show you interesting, I think, conversation piece. Now, if you hear this word conversation piece, let me just write it down here. In this section one reading, we're not going to do reading, but I did keep the first part because it's an interesting conversation piece, something that people can talk about. So it can be a physical object, maybe like a vase, a vase in British, or a picture or a sculpture, controversial picture or sculpture. So if you have something in your house that's a little bit out of the ordinary or controversial, we could call this a conversation piece. People will talk about it when they visit your house or apartment. Now, the conversation piece here is a very interesting set of questions or formula. What makes a relationship work? Now, interestingly, they have right after work, if you notice, tick the three things you think are most important. Now, we can actually use tick in this sentence. Watch this. What makes a relationship tick? Tick means function well. Interesting. So tick actually works, although it's not intended to function like that. It's in function to tick 3. Now, let's just look at these. Cross any you think, or cross out any you think don't matter. So let's talk. I want you to think about this, and if you feel so inclined with your speaking partner or in a future audio recording, you can tell me what you think makes a relationship tick or work. Is it the same music? Is it dressing the same or having the same style of clothes or the same taste in food? You like to go to the same restaurants and enjoy them in equal proportion. Now, interestingly, I said proportion, and we can have a fun play of words here, because the serving of food you get is called a portion. So equal proportion can be equal measure, but the portion of food is also the size of the serving. The size of the serving. All right. Same drinks, food and drinks. You like each other's families. I know for some people this is a clincher or a knockout. It's just not going to work. I don't like his family or her mother-in-law or his mother-in-law or whatever. What about their friends? How important is it to get along with your partner or spouse's friends? Interesting. Do you support the same football team or any sports team? How important is that? For you, not for everyone, for you. Do you enjoy similar cultural activities, going to the theater or to a museum, or I don't know, the same sort of travel plans? You like to do the same sort of excursions. Excursions are these sort of excursions, a short travel, often involving sightseeing, but also cultural. Free time activities. Do you both like to play chess or cards or have a walk together? What about the same programs? Do you like watching the same types of TV programs? Or do you share the same political views? Ooh, politics can divide families just as easily as they can unite them. So is that important for you? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this. Now, this chapter is on dating. I have intentionally not kept the reading part because it's quite long. Reading is not our focus, as you know. in this course because we have so much homework dealing with communication, vocabulary, speaking, pronunciation, and then, of course, grammar. So I don't want to overwhelm you with all sorts of homework. So we've left this out to give you a bit of breathing room. If you have breathing room, you have space so you don't go crazy. If you don't have breathing room, you can go a bit crazy. All right, pronunciation. Now, this is interesting. Fine-tuning your pronunciation, identifying enthusiasm and sarcasm. Are you good at telling the difference or telling when someone's being sarcastic or genuine? I think this is really important, especially in English. Now listen to these. Now I don't think we're going to listen to 3.1, so I'm going to say it for you. It's called Hater and strikes me as quite brilliant. Did you hear the tone? Now listen to the second one. More openly expressed hatred in the world. Just what we need. Sarcasm. Sarcasm. Just what we need. We don't need that. That's the tone, says we don't need that. Just what we need. You're sort of shaking your head. So it's how we say it. That is the clue. And I think a lot of you, it's just natural. I think it's sort of second nature. You feel it. The pitch, the intonation. So the pitch is how high or low the voice is. The intonation is the voice rising and falling as you say these phrases. This is going to be really fun. This 3.2 is going to be important. So take a look at that. Number one, now let me try it. Now the audio file is going to do them differently, but let me try it. Ready? Number 4. Oh, good. I love vegetarian. Let me do that again. Oh, good. I just love vegetarian. So the way I said it suggests I don't. Now, I'm quite sure that the audio will have a different version of this. What about this one? Oh, let me change it a bit. Oh, that sounds like fun. I'm being sarcastic. It means I don't think that's going to be any fun. Let's do one more. So I love the sarcasm part because you've got to get if the sarcasm generally means it's exactly the opposite of what you're saying. So it's really important that you don't take it literally. So watch this. Number 2, good idea. It's only 2 miles. It's only 2 miles. I'm being sarcastic. I'm saying that's a bad idea because it's very far away. How good are you at picking up on this? You're going to hear these audio files. Tell me what you think. And maybe try to practice it with, when you have a speaking opportunity next. Try to determine whether whether your speaking partner can determine whether you're being sarcastic or genuine. Genuine means real, honest. I'm going to write that word down because it's nice. If you're genuine, you're being honest, truthful, lots of synonyms here. Sarcastic generally means the opposite of what you're saying. Oh, that sounds like fun. It's going to be boring. That's what you're saying. So try to determine that and then try to use some of that. It's very helpful if not for no other reason than to understand and identify it in other people. Maybe you don't speak sarcasm very often, but you have to be able to recognize it. Let's move on because the audio files are going to take care of a lot of this. And we're going to look at, again, you've got listening and speaking here, that you're going to go through and answer these on your own, listening and speaking. I'm going to look at suggest for just a second. Now we have, this I think can cause some confusion. Now, honestly, I'm going to leave out number 3 because I don't think it's very common. So we're going to focus on the first 2 because They are very common. So there are three possible structures after the verb suggest. Let's go ahead and write some of these out, and then I'm going to embellish this. Embellish means go into more detail. I'm going to embellish. If you embellish something, musicians embellish a chord or a melody, and sculptors can embellish any sort of sculpture. So embellishment is to have a variation. So we're going to do that. Suggesting. He's suggesting you go on holiday. You see that? Let me go ahead and make it bigger. That's number one. Number two, now you try one. I want you to think of one right now. Write something down. Think of it. He's suggesting you go on holiday. You make an example. Next one, number two. So that's number one. Number two, this is very common. I suggest that he take a holiday. That he take a holiday. Next week. Oh, that would be nice. It's cold where we're at. Now, a holiday would be nice. I suggest that he take a holiday. You can use it in the past. I suggested to him last week. I suggested last week. I suggested, you don't have to say last week, that he take a holiday. Now, do you look at this? This is interesting. I suggested is in the past, but if you notice here, I can use take in the present. It sounds more natural here than that he took a holiday. No, I suggested that he take a holiday. This is more natural, suggested in the past, take in the present. Now let's look at some others here. Propose is a very similar word. So we can use propose with ing. He proposed, or he proposes, doesn't matter, simple, present or past. He proposed taking a holiday. He proposed taking a holiday. All right. He proposed that I take a holiday. So look at how similar it is to suggest. He suggested that I take a holiday. He proposed that I take a holiday. The exact same structure. Interesting. So here, look at number one. He's suggesting you go on holiday. With propose, it's different. He proposed taking. So ing comes after the proposition. All right. Let's look at advise very quickly. Actually, let's do recommend. I've got my notes next to me here. I recommend that he go on holiday. That he take a holiday. We have a few ways. I recommend that he go on holiday. Very similar to this suggest and to this propose. I recommended that he go on holiday. I'm going to take that out just for now so you can see the overlap. Now, one more. I advised him. So I advised the person, not that. It's slightly different. I advised him to go on holiday. Now, here we have very similar constructions, but they're not exactly the same. So I would read these over and then do one on your own. You want to sort of feel the difference. There's only a slight difference with advise, and the others are more or less the same. And how you can learn these quicker is by groups or chunks. So if you learn suggest, propose, recommended, advise, because they're all synonyms and they're all interesting to use, slightly different, but very similar. Honestly, very similar. You could use in most cases any of these and it's okay. Proposed is slightly more formal, more business, more serious. You propose something. People propose marriage. That's serious. You don't advise. You can advise marriage, but it's different than propose. And suggest marriage, also less serious. Advise can be something professional, a financial advisor, an investment advisor, so they can advise you to do something, to invest somewhere. Anyway, All right, that's some extra work and some tidbits for you all to look at. Now, read the information box. How would you say these sentences in 3 different ways using suggest? Let's do them together. So read this together, and then you think, pause the video and ask, how can I use suggest here? She advised me, hear these words, remember, we've looked at them. We have advised, recommend, and said. She advised me to go to the doctor. Ready? She suggested that I go to the doctor, or she suggests going to the doctor. Good. Number 2. Let's look at number 2. I recommended that they visit the museum. Are you ready? We suggest, pause if you need more time. I suggested that they visit. Exactly the same. I suggested that they visit the museum. What about number 3? He said to me, why don't you talk to her? Now, if you want to turn this into an indirect statement, you can say, he suggested that I talk to her. He suggested that I talk to her. All right. I suggest that you become more familiar with these very common words. They are very common. Suggest, recommend. You're always giving people advice, or people are giving you advice. Sometimes it's unsolicited. This is a very fancy word that I'm going to write down. Unsolicited advice means you didn't ask for it. If you solicit advice, you ask for it. I solicit advice. This is it's a big word. I asked for advice, but if it's unsolicited, you didn't ask for it. You have these people. They give you their opinion even when you don't ask. We all have those friends. So, all right, let's continue. Grammar get. Now, get is a great word here. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my opinion on it, but get is, well, let's just look here. We have 4 words, and get can mean all of these. So let's take a look. If I get a match on an app, we already have things in common. What does that mean? If I get a match, if I obtain or receive, I think is even better. I got way more nervous. This is an adjective, and you'll learn that you can use became. I became way more nervous. Way means a lot more. As soon as I got there, as soon as I arrived, and finally, I finally managed to get a friend to organize a date. To get a friend to organize a date is to persuade someone, oh, come on, you can do it. You can do it for me. Come on, you're my friend. Now let's go to the grammar bank. Now let me tell you my thoughts on this very briefly. I don't like using get so much. It's really popular in informal conversation. I do use get when I'm speaking to friends, but I don't use it much in the classroom. I don't use it much in business or formal settings. I certainly don't write it I use it in my academic articles very much. And here's the reason why. Hear me out. There's almost always a better, more descriptive verb that you can replace get with. Get is this sort of lowest common denominator that you can use in many situations, if you get my drift. If you get my drift means if you understand me. Okay, but it's used everywhere. It's ubiquitous. Ubiquitous is this big word that means it's used everywhere. I'll let you find out that word, ubiquitous. You can look that one up. All right, I got a message. If you're going to the office, could you get me some stamps? We can get the bus. will get to Paris. Now, let me just show you. I'm just going to highlight. I want to be honest. Some of these grammar rules and lists are very complicated. And so I want to give you some advice. Only do the ones that I've sort of highlighted here. Well, stick to the 1, 3, 2, and 5 to begin with. And then if you want to go into more detail, you can. But get plus a noun means receive or obtain or buy. So if you look here, we can get the bus, we can, we can get on the bus, we can take the bus, basically. We'll get to Paris. When do you think we'll get to Paris? That means when do you think we'll arrive in Paris or to Paris? It's getting dark. Now, here is interesting. When you have adjectives, and you can see in number 2 here, we use get plus adjective to mean become. This is an easy one to remember. Honestly, some of these instructions are a bit complicated. This one's rather easy. I seem to have got very forgetful. The traffic gets worse. Worse is an adjective. Forgetful is an adjective. So whenever you use adjectives, we can substitute become. We'd better go home. It's getting dark. It's becoming dark. I seem to have become very forgetful recently. The traffic is becoming worse. It's getting worse. That one's interesting. If you look here, this is a mistake, by the way. We can use get plus a person, I think, is what we want here. An object, but a person. We can get to plus infinitive to mean make, tell, or persuade. So get Jane or get someone, get Jane to finish. Ask her, persuade her to finish. We need to get someone to fix this. We need to call someone, obtain someone, tell someone to finish it. All right. Now, here we have some homework. And what I want you to do, and this is going to be a little bit extra work, I want you to answer all these, and then I want you to tell me what you think the substitute is. What's a verb we could use in place of? Now here, actually, you've got that as your assignment. You've got to fill in was. I got blamed. I was blamed. Fill these in. This is really important because now you can begin to use more advanced level English instead of using get, which is not the best English, to be honest. Here, we use get, and it's okay. Some of these are common examples that you need to know about. But be aware in the back of your mind, ask yourself, what is the sort of main verb? What's a substitute verb we could use here? And then try to use them. Now, there are a lot of great examples here. Number 2, honestly, I don't think is very popular. If you want to skip it, I just never heard anyone use it. And in the US, we never use it in this way. This is a strictly British formula or form, but it's not one that I've ever heard in Britain. So I'm going to say it's not very common. Everything else gets on my nerves. I'm not getting anywhere with this. Get a life. Get a life is a great one. Get real. She gets her own way. He got the message. We're getting on. All of these are great. This is a little bit out of dated. We get on like a house on fire. It's outdated, but it's funny. If you get on like a house on fire, you click. Remember earlier, the relationship, what makes a relationship tick, go well? If you click, that means you get on really well. You have a lot in common. We talked at the outset, at the beginning, about what things you need to have in common to have a relationship click. And that's what get on like a house on fire means. You're not going to hear that much. So don't sweat that one. Sweat means don't be nervous or worry if you forget it, because it's not very common. All right, we have the others here. Verbal, phrasal verbs with get. We're going to practice these during the live, actually, because these are, and I'm going to ask you to give sentences. You can also take 2 or 3 of these that you like and use these with yours in your next speaking opportunities. Get together, get over, get on with, get through, get into, get around. All of these are common. Popular, gets me down, get out of it, get back to. All of these are common. You've got to know them because they're going to be used by native speakers. All right, you have a lot to do here. in addition to a lot more speaking opportunities with a questionnaire. Great questions that you can talk with someone else, either in your home, a friend you have that speaks English, or someone in the group. All right. Well, happy studying. You had a lot to do. The answers are below, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.